Welcome to my channel, to everyone who's new here and of course to those of you who are back again, great to have you here. In this video we will take a look together at possible scenarios for the price development of XRP, Dogecoin, Solana and Cardano. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. And if you also want to trade with cheap taker fees, then I can recommend you the crypto exchange mexc, which has a similar trading volume to Bitget, OKX and Bybit. Today it's a bit less, but usually it's the same. But as you can see, I highlighted you it here. The taker fees are far much lower than on the other top crypto exchanges. And on top of that, you can save another 20% if you use my referral link, which you can find in the video description. 100 pairs, 0 fees, just on mexc. And here you can trade some popular altcoins without any fees on mexc. So let's get to XRP. What did we say about XRP? We have said if we break the $2.44 to the upside, then we can see the $2.47. What I've also said is that the $2.44 is going to get us resistance. And I want to see resistance because if we have resistance over us, then how do we verify that it is resistance? For sure, if we get it. And we have consolidated within a bull flag, lower than the resistance. So the breakout of the bull flag with its retest was actually a long trigger into the $2.47.5. If we would have also broke the $2.47.5 to the upside, then we could have went into $2.53 to $2.56. That's what the chart is going to tell me. What the chart also told me is that we had a rising wedge. Okay, the rising wedge got invalidated to the upside. So we can take out this trend line and we can take out the target. And we broke it to the upside. I can place it again. We broke it to the upside, so we invalidated that chart pattern. What we didn't invalidate is the trend line, which has more than 3 touch points. We broke it to the downside. I will make this trend line white now, not bright blue. If we break it to the downside, then the chances should be high. Before we had the target here, which should get us to $2.25, round about that. That target is gone. But still, it was still that if the now bright blue trend line breaks to the downside, that we should see the $2.29 as next support. What I don't like right now is that we broke that trend line to the downside, retested it, and we currently have an hidden bearish divergence. You can see it here in the RSI. We have higher highs in the RSI, but we have lower highs in the chart. So if I see here a breakout in the chart, then the hidden bearish divergence would get activated. When do I see it? I can put you here a trend line. This is support. If we break the $2.35 to the downside, I will also put you here a price mark, don't worry. So if we lose that support, then we should drop again to $2.29. And if we also break the $2.29 to the downside, then $2.25 is going to get our next target for XRP. So the chart already told me where the price is going to go for sure. Price movements like this aren't tradable for me. I don't trade them because we have here a huge fair value gap over us, which can get closed. If we break to the downside, then the chance that we close that fair value gap soon is low, but we can still close it. So basically, if we take, for example, this candle which closed here, for sure I could have jumped into a short trade. But what if we didn't get this push to the downside? What if we first filled that fair value gap and from here decide to go for higher prices? So I also want to see some good breakouts which are tradable for me. For now, the current market stage, I don't like to short because we are pretty bullish on every coin. Everyone is saying again, buy the dip, buy the dip. And who knows, that's not the dip which I want to buy. The dip which I want to buy is actually the one here where we got the push to the upside. This was the dip which I wanted to buy. Where we got the push to the upside, that's the dip which I wanted to buy, because those were retests. And yes, this dip here, where we broke to the upside, where we got the dip, that's the dip which I want to buy. If we break to the downside, then I'm out of the trade. Yeah, it works quite often. If we go into Cardano soon, then you will see it that it worked 4 or even 5 times in a row, buying the dip, which was the retest. But we went into our take profit area. After that, we don't care what Cardano is going to do. Then we have to see and find new entries. So, now wait, let me talk about a bullish scenario. Even though I don't have one at the moment, I would still say if we get over the white trend line here again, which is currently the $2.38, then it would be positive. Then we can fill the fair value gap which is over us. And after that we have to see. Then again, $2.44 is our resistance. If we break it again to the upside, then I think the chance is even high that we break the $2.48 to the upside, where we got here rejected first. But on the second attempt, we should break to the upside and hopefully get into our profit areas, which are here, the $2.53 and the $2.57. But let's see, that's not going to happen today in my opinion. That's also not going to happen tomorrow in my opinion. Maybe next week if we don't drop a lot in the next days. So what about Dogecoin? We have said about Dogecoin that here it's long into the white trend line, which was at 24.5 cents, which we also broke to the upside. We missed the target by, I think, less than 1%. Can we see it? As 0.8%, yeah, less than a percent. Still not precise enough, in my opinion. It's okay. We even got here the retest. So in my opinion, it was even here long as well. I increased there my position size. I had before my stop loss here when I went into a trade. I had my stop loss down here. With the push here, I took profits. And with the breakout, with retest, I increased my position size, so my stop loss went to break even, which was somewhere here, and I got stopped out a bit earlier. Not a big deal, at least 50% of the trade went into profits, and now I have to see that prevented me of this down move to the downside. What I don't like here as well is, similar to XRP, we had a retest. We broke the 23.8 cents to the downside, which were support. And we retested it. Now we also have a bearish divergence, a hidden one. That's a hidden bearish divergence. Higher highs in the RSI, lower highs on the chart. So basically, if we also break this support here to the downside, then I think we have the chance to get back to 22.7 cents. If we also break it to the downside, round about 22 cents is going to get the target for for Dogecoin, where we also have a fair value gap which is between 22.07 to 22.24. I will also put you here the price tag, so 22.28, 22.04, and here down to 21.9. I would be positive for Dogecoin if we break the 23.8 cents to the upside again, which is here this orange resistance. We have a fair value gap over us, so it might be possible that if we break to the upside, that it's not sustainable, that we just close the fair value gap and sell off into the 21.9 cents. What I want to see is a nice push to the upside, where we get afterwards a retest, and that retest we can see and track. For example here, that we can see we bounce on that orange trend line. If yes, and we break to the upside, then we can get into the purple box where 3 targets are heading to. All those 3 targets are still ongoing. They didn't get invalidated with this push to the downside. So we can't be bearish at the moment. We would be bearish if we break the 21.9 cents to the downside. Next support, which I think is very interesting to hold, 20.2 cents, but we also have to see. Maybe we are going to form some bearish chart patterns which direct us into more detailed take profits areas if we go for a short trade. But like I said, I don't like to jump into short trades at the moment in this current market stage. I like to look for long positions. So those bearish patterns are just telling me where the price is going to go and where I can expect to open some long positions and where I should look carefully into the chart and look for faster and better long entries on the smaller time frame. Because if a bearish chart pattern, for example, is telling me that here is a take profit area, then I can see with this push to the upside, then I can bring here a trend line on the chart where I would say if we break it to the upside, then I can jump into a long trade for this push. But we don't have it at the moment. So currently we can expect lower prices for Dogecoin. I think a better analysis for Solana nobody gave you on YouTube, in my opinion, because we were very, very precise. So we have said all the time that 180 US dollar is going to get our target, where we also got resistance. Yeah, the 180 US dollar wasn't tradable for us. Just when we pushed here to the upside, got here the retest, then it was for me long. I didn't traded it here. So basically I tried it with a very small position into the 180 US dollar. But what was tradable was the bull flag, where we had here one touch point on the downside, a second touch point on the downside, here 3, 4 touch points, 1, 2, 3 touch points on the upside. We broke to the upside and we also got our candle close over 180 US dollar. We got our retest, here it was long, into 184 US dollar to 185 US dollar. Take profit. Second take profit was the $187.32. With this pullback, which was the retest of the 180 US dollar and 25 cents, we had still, I personally had here 50% take profit. The other 50% were still in the trade, which I took here. So what I have done is, when we went into that support 3 times in a row, so over 45 minutes, we jumped on that support at $180.25. It was pretty clear to me that we at least get into the area 184 to 185 US dollar again, and even overshoot it to 187 US dollar. So this was also the push. First take profit here, again 50% out of the trade, and here the other 50%. So basically this was a very profitable trade, and I have prevented myself from this sell-off. What we have also said is that the $177.10 have to hold. Otherwise, if we break it to the downside, we should meet the 174 US dollar. We broke it to the downside, but too fast. It wasn't, for me, like I said, I don't like to short at the moment, but it wasn't tradable. Anyway, 174 US dollar it hold, even though we wicked lower than this, we got support there. Why does this happen? We have said here that we have here a double top pattern. But with this push to the upside, what did we get? Double top pattern, double bottom pattern. That's a rectangle. And rectangles, we had this same setup before. In this market stage here, where we have said here, this is a double bottom pattern, but this here is a double top pattern, rectangle. We broke it here to the downside a few times, but we didn't meet the target. We even broke it to the upside and we didn't meet the target. But if we put here the length of that spread of the rectangle and put it here to the downside, then you can see we hit it. We put it to the upside, then you can see we hit it. And the same happened here. We have here the spread of that rectangle. We put it to our breakout point, we hit the target, but we also put it to the lower part and we hit the target. So in both directions we hit the target. I think the most important thing with rectangles is in which time frame do we break and in which order. So I have told you that with Cardano, but I will also tell you that with Solana again. I have said it yesterday about Cardano. If we break a rectangle at this current market stage to the upside, then we are most likely getting topped out, because we have here the target of the rectangle if we break it to the downside, and here if we break it to the upside. If we first break it to the upside, then for sure we can get higher, but if we sell off, then we should sell off into that area, and then we can get a bounce and another sell-off. The chances for that are high. If we break it to the downside first, then we just fish the stops and afterwards go for higher prices, even get here maybe a pullback and go for far higher prices. So the order of which direction we break out first is very important. So what do I see now? I'm not comfortable with the bull flag here. I don't even know if I can call it a bull flag. But we have one touch point on the upper part, three touch points on the lower part. So on the lower part, it looks right. On the upper part, we have to see. Maybe the bull flag is not big like this. Maybe it's just like this. So that's what I want to get surprised of. So I have to wait for the price development. If we break the bull flag to the downside, then it's not looking good. If we afterwards break the 174 US dollar to the downside, then it looks even worse. And then we can drop to 168.6 US dollar and even 162.85 US dollar. I will also put you here the price mark on the chart. So let's hope that the 174 US dollar holds. And we have to see, maybe even Solana has the chance to break up, because Solana is the only coin with HBAR, which don't have a hidden bearish divergence. We have seen it with the other coins where the RSI is somewhere here, and we have a hidden bearish divergence by having higher highs in the RSI, lower highs on the chart. Solana is not giving me that. So if we break this trend line here to the upside in the RSI, which is currently 49.64 points in the RSI, then we have some upside momentum, and probably that push would get us into the top area of the bull flag, which is around about here at 182 US dollar, 83 US dollar even. If we afterwards break another trend line to the upside in the RSI, which is connecting the both tops here, that's even the bearish divergence which we had built up in that market stage. You can't see it right now. So we had here higher highs in the chart, lower highs in the RSI, bearish divergence. We would invalidate and break that bearish divergence to the upside at 66 RSI points. If we do, then we have some positive momentum, probably back into 187.5 US dollar. I will also put you here price mark, with a higher chance breaking to the upside if we break the RSI to the upside. So that's my current plan for Solana. Let's see where we break out. So what about Cardano? I have already talked about that in Solana, and I have also told you in Dogecoin that sometimes we get 4 times in a row a tradable breakout. If we go into the 1 hour chart, then it looks even far more better. So here we have seen that we had support at 74.8 cents long. Yeah, we got support there for around about 2 hours. Then we broke the 76.75 cents to the upside, retested it, we're here for 2 hours, long, increasement of position size. We broke here the 78.58 to the upside, retest, long. Then we have built up a rectangle, breakout, retest. We were there for 2 hours, increasement of position size. Target 81.4 cents. Okay, we already hit it. So the rectangle target 82.3 cents for Cardano. We have already predicted this price movement to the upside. That we didn't get into the 84.8 cents, which we have marked here, we have missed that target, the maximum target, by 0.7%. It wasn't perfect, but it was still pretty precise. Afterwards, we had here in rectangle, it's the same setup like we had for Solana. We broke it to the downside. We hit the target, but we also broke the 78.58 cents to the downside and retested it. Here was the breakout, here was the retest. So now we have to see, are we going to get a follow through? Then we can drop a lot. And I have put you here on the 50 minutes chart a possible bearish pennant or triangle. With the hidden bearish divergence which we have on the chart. RSI, higher highs, in the chart, lower highs. With the breakout of that triangle, and we have here the first sign of a breakout, this can be here just the retest, but I don't like chart patterns on a smaller time frame, because on the 15 minutes time frame it most likely even get invalidated, and this was just a fake out that happens a lot on the 50 minutes chart. That's why I always prefer the 1 hour chart. But even here we got the candle close lower than that. Then we can say, if we break to the downside, if we get a follow through even, the chances are high, or the chance even got higher because we broke out and now we have the retest. Chances are far higher that we get into the 74.8 cents for Cardano. If we also lose that support, then we can even drop down to 74 cents and even 71.7 cents. If we lose the 70.7 cents, the red trend line here, then we have fair value gaps where I've put you here the circle between 68.3 cents to 69.6 cents. I have them on the chart since weeks. Yeah, there we should go if we break the 71.7 cents to the downside. And the chances are getting higher if we break more and more to the downside. In my opinion, is it worth shorting? In my opinion, no. I don't like to short because we also have here a huge fair value gap. If I jump into a short trade, then this can also be just a push to the upside, which would be my stop loss or even liquidation. If I'm too over leveraged and if I'm in all the altcoins, if they do a nice push to the upside, then I'm out most likely of the trade with the stop loss. And afterwards, it might be even possible that we sell off. So since I don't know it at the moment, I don't want to say 50-50, but we can get into the fair value gap and sell off from there, or we sell off now, or we get into the fair value gap, breaks something nice to the upside, yeah, I don't want to say that this trend line is valid, it just has 2 touch points, but then we have a bullish reversal. So since the market stage is currently unclear, I'm looking for safer entries. So 79.5 cents. If we break it again to the upside, where I would say we close the fair value gap, we get the retest, maybe form even a trend line with 3 touch points. There, that should be a trend line with 3 touch points, and afterwards break it to the upside, then I can say, okay, we can reach for higher prices. But as long as I don't have the setup, I'm a bit more careful for most likely every coin. So I hope that I gave you some valuable information. I can take out the targets. I will also clean up the chart after this video. So basically, I will first talk about render on Sui and HBAR, but afterwards I will clean all my chart, delete all the chart patterns which got invalidated or which got into that take profit. So I have some work to do today. See you in the next altcoin update.